Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right into it. All right. Yeah, the chickens have definitely come home to roost for Michigan. It was only a matter of time, and they're roosting big time. This is going to be a rough week or 2 or 3 or 4 for Michigan for sure. A draft of the notice of allegations has come out, and it's already been reported on by several news organizations, and it's not looking so good for Michigan. I'm sure that doesn't surprise you, even though I know there were a lot of Michigan folks out there talking about, oh, there were going to be no level one. They couldn't connect anything to any of the coaches. We all knew that wasn't going to be the case. And I do want to talk to the Michigan fans. I know some of you are watching this. Look, I'm going to kind of tell you how it is, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Some of it you'll like, some of it you're not going to like. I got to shoot straight with you on this. You might not want to be here for this.
Just walk away.
Yeah. Listen to Humongous. He usually knows best. And it might be a good idea to walk away because this is not going to be a fun video for you. And I know what you're going to do, the few that'll make it through this. You're going to be in there.
Oh, you're just a Tennessee fan. And y'all cheated too. And blah, 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 blah.
I understand that. We took our licks. That's just the way it is. NCAA whooped us upside the head for a couple of years. Of course, they came back for a second bite of the apple. That didn't work out so good for the NCAA. And oh, by the way, we warned them.
Don't be a fool. We can do this easy, or we can do it real easy.
Yeah, we told them, so you can do it easy, or we can do it real easy. Well, they chose real easy, and they limped out of that courthouse with very little left over. But anyway, let's get into this Michigan story. It's not looking so good for the Wolverines. All right, this is by Dan Murphy and Pete Thamel, so I mean, it doesn't get much more credible than that. A notice of allegations draft says that Michigan head coach Sharon Moore is one of 7 members from the 23 football program accused of violating NCAA rules in a draft that was obtained by ESPN. And I don't know how they get a hold of a draft early on. You would think the NCAA would hold on to that, but this happens a lot. And it also shouldn't escape your notice that this is coming out a few weeks before the big expose on Netflix of Sign Stealer Guy.
Sign Stealer Guy.
That's coming out on the 27th, where he's going to spin his narrative, which will probably be not real accurate if I had to guess. But we'll see. It says the draft, which is subject to change, states Moore could face a show cause and a possible suspension for allegedly deleting a thread of 52 text messages with former Michigan staffer Connor Stalions in October 2023. On the same day that media reported that Stalions was leading an effort to capture the play calling signals of future opponents. The draft states the texts were later recovered by device imaging, and Moore subsequently produced them to enforcement staff. Moore's accused of committing a level 2 violation. Moore could also be a repeat violator because he had negotiated a resolution to claims that he contacted recruits during the recruiting dead period. And that's the unfortunate part of this. See, I think that's ticky-tack stuff, but what they're going to do is say, okay, well, you had this first violation, so now you're a repeat offender, which that's the insidious part of what the NCAA does. When they label you a repeat offender, then they can really hammer you. But deleting those 52 texts, that wasn't a good idea at all. Talks about how Jim Harbaugh, Chris Partridge, Denard Robinson, and Stalions are all accused of committing level 1 violations. And of course, there was a report out a couple days ago, and I reported this, that people at Michigan were saying there were no level 1s. They couldn't connect any of the coaches. I told you they were going to hand out level 1 violations like Oprah. And they absolutely did. There's 4 of them right there. It said a pattern of noncompliance within the football program, institutional efforts to hinder and thwart the NCAA investigation. That's not good. Institutional efforts. That is not a good phrase. You don't want that, Michigan. Former coaches Jesse Minter and Steve Clinkscale are also accused of recruiting violations unrelated to Stalions. Minter, isn't he the defensive coordinator? Didn't he run off with Harbaugh? I believe so. A spokesman for Michigan's football team told ESPN our athletic department and university continue to cooperate with the NCAA regarding an ongoing investigation. We do not have any update to share at this time. Harbaugh, who left Michigan, he ran off to the Los Angeles Chargers. Look, Michigan did everything they could to keep him. They were going to make him the highest paid coach in the NCAA history. But Harbaugh saw the handwriting on the wall. He knew he was going to get nailed with level one. They'd already suspended him twice. The first 3 games over the contact during the dead period, and another 3 games over the Connor Stalions stuff, which was the Big Ten. So he knew the NCAA was going to lay the hammer down, so he hightailed it on out of Michigan land.
Brave Sir Robin ran away. No! Bravely ran away, away. I didn't.
Absolutely. He ran away and took the money from the Chargers. It says the draft says Harbaugh could face a show cause restriction if he ever opts to return to college sports, which he will not. He knows that's over. Talks about how they suspended him the final 3 games. We just discussed that. Said the draft does not provide evidence that Harbaugh was involved in the Stallions operation or that he knew it was going on. The draft states that Harbaugh failed to actively look for or evaluate red flags. You mean the red flag where Stalions would put his arm up in the air as an analyst, mind you, standing right up there where a coordinator would stand. He put it up here like this, meaning they were going to pass the ball. Everybody behind him would do the same thing, and all the players would look straight at him. That might have been a little red flag. Something was going on. Talks about Stalions resign in early November, following all this reports that came out, etc. It says ESPN states investigators used ticket information, film, photography, and interviews to determine that Stalions had impermissibly scouted at least 13 future Michigan opponents on at least 58 occasions during those 3 years. He also directed others to scout opponents multiple times, including one team that they scouted 7 different times in 2022. I wonder who that could have been. Ohio State? You know that was about the Buckeyes. If you were going to scout a team 7 times, it'd be the Buckeyes, especially if you're Michigan. But that's my hunch and opinion. I can't prove it. Also says that multiple team interns and at least one other full-time employee knew about the scheme, participated in it, and that Stalions led those individuals to believe that they were not doing anything wrong. It wasn't against the rules, which obviously it was. It also talks about they've got evidence that Stalions was on the Central Michigan sideline. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence about that. I wonder where they got that information. Talks about him wearing the Central Michigan coaching gear and he was in disguise. Says that seriously undermined and threatened the integrity of the NCAA collegiate model. We know there was an assistant coach. It was actually a quarterback coach got let go over that just a few days ago. So they must have known this was coming out, or at least got a heads up. And it only took them, about 8 months to figure out how he was on the Central Michigan sideline. Way to go, Central Michigan. Y'all really jumped on that one. Isn't that, what's that, Jim McElwain or whatever used to be the Florida coach? It only took, little under a year to find out how that happened. God, he should have known that within 48 hours. It says ESPN's attempts to reach Stalions for comment were unsuccessful. Look, when that dude's working with his vacuums, he's not to be disturbed.
I said don't disturb you, I'm cleaning my room!
Exactly. You don't disturb him when he's cleaning his room. It says he failed to cooperate with the investigation, no kidding. He removed hard drives from Michigan's football offices and also gave a football player a sheet containing play calling signals of a future opponent. He said that Stalions asked the player to bring the sheet to a team's intern's house so he could pick it up later. He refused to let the school review his phone, according to the draft. Of course, we're going to find out a lot in the Netflix documentary. Talks about Partridge. Wasn't he let go? What was it? He was fired, yeah. Accused of pressuring a player to lie or mislead the NCAA investigators. And that eliminated the lone actor thing. As soon as he was fired, everybody's like, oh, okay, we might not go with that lone actor anymore. And I think he got hit with level 2 also during the dead period. Said they were accused of multiple impermissible benefits, including paying for a recruit's meal. Now, see, this is that ticky-tack crap right here. Bought him a cheeseburger. That's the thing that's very annoying, but they use that to make you a 2-time offender or whatever. I'm not going to spend much time on that. I don't care about it. I don't care about a cheeseburger or a $100 check for a golf charity outing. Oh, yeah, that's a real criminal act there. Says, yeah, there we go. Mentor and Klinkscale are both assistants on Harbaugh's staff. So they're fine. They landed completely on their feet. They went off with Jim Harbaugh. So it's a big mess. Now, what I think will happen, first of all, the show cause thing for Coach Moore. Is that really a big deal? Because as long as they don't fire him, what does that really even mean anymore? That used to be a huge deal. First of all, you usually fired somebody and gave them the show cause, and that's how schools handled all that. And then that guy was untouchable for a few years. Nowadays, you can give somebody a show cause and they can keep on coaching, especially if they're on the same team. So I don't know what a big deal that is. The suspension will be a pain in the butt. And what'll probably happen, they'll probably negotiate it and they'll probably accept that suspension. Let's say he gets a 3-game suspension. Go ahead and do that and be done with it. Because look, this is going to be a tough year already. You know that. You've lost a ton of your great players. Your head coach and your defense coordinator's gone. Your offensive coordinator's now your head coach. He's going to be suspended. They're going to probably try to hit you with a bowl ban of 1 to 2 years. If you start off and you're struggling, let's say you lose a couple of games in the first 5 or 6 ball games, you might want to go ahead and self-impose a bowl ban and just get it over with, would be my suggestion. That would probably be the smartest thing to do, because look, this is a big deal. This isn't NIL problems or things that you can go to court over and all that. This is sign stealing. This is just cheating is what it is. And nobody's going to side with you, and you're not going to find a court that's going to side with you on that either. That doesn't have anything to do with the Sherman Act or keeping somebody from making a living. So Michigan's got a big mess on their hands. They need to just handle it the best they can and get through it. The same thing Tennessee did. We went through a bunch of crap with the NCAA, and we wound up with 25 scholarships removed, probation, an $8 million fine, which you're going to get a big fine. We didn't get a bowl ban, but we fired everybody. See, y'all didn't do that. Y'all tried to protect Jim Harbaugh and keep him. And I think that's that institutional thing that they're going to hit you with. So we'll see how this plays out, but it's going to be ugly up there for a while. But look, I don't see anything in there about vacating your national titles, so you should be feeling good about that, because that would have really sucked for you. If you noticed, the Kentucky Wildcats got hit for less than what this is, and they had to vacate 10 ball games, 10 wins from 2021. So be glad there's no mention of vacating that national title in there. And I certainly hope Michigan is sending a ring to Connor Stallions, because when that guy showed up, Jim Harbaugh was on the hot seat. He'd already taken a pay cut, and he was at a 69% winning percentage. Connor Stallions showed up, and they went to a 92% winning percentage. So he deserves a ring, even if you don't like him anymore. They said they put out a poll and that 70% of Michigan Wolverine fans don't like Connor Stallions. I'm like, what more could the guy have done for you? Excuse me. But anyway, I get it. Now you're having to pay the price for it and you're not liking it. Look, this will be short-lived. It'll probably be 1-2 seasons of grief, and then you'll be fine. But you're not going to get out of this unscathed. That's very obvious. You're just going to have to work with the NCAA a little bit. It's the way it is. Look, this is not the 1980s or 90s. You're not going to get the death penalty or anything close to that. It's going to be an aggravation for a season or two, and then you're going to be fine. And if they hit you with scholarships, you're getting ready to go from 85 scholarships to 105 next year. Plus, you got NIL money, and they can't touch that. So you're going to be able to keep plenty of great players. That shouldn't be a problem. In the long term, it's not that big a deal. It's going to suck for a year or two. It just is. But after that, you're going to be fine. You just are. And you got a natty out of it. So be glad for that. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big sports stories. If you've not subscribed, hit this little button right here. Helps you get this stuff, because I'm going to keep up with this. You can count on that. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And Michigan fans, if you made it through this, sorry I had to be straight up with you, but it is what it is. I tried to be fair. You probably don't think so. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.